For the vast majority of Swiss, this is where they'll end up a few days after they die, in a crematorium. This is Sion, where people from the canton of Valais are incinerated.
We are removing the screws and the metal handles. We can't have metal things in the furnace. We can burn the body in the coffin, but not metal bits. At one time, most people preferred to bury their dead, especially in Catholic areas. 80% of bodies were buried and 20% cremated. Things have changed a lot in the past few years. Now, 80% are cremated and 20% buried.
8 people per day are cremated within these walls. That's about 2,000 per year. Each cremation lasts between 50 and 90 minutes. The fire is heated to 800 degrees. 80% of people from Valais who die are incinerated here.
This is what you get after a cremation, before the final stage, when the bones are ground down.
What are you taking out?
That was a titanium hip joint.
That doesn't burn?
No, the fire is not hot enough.
All the metal elements, mainly prostheses and coffin parts, are detected with the help of a magnet and discarded. Isn't it a bit weird doing this job?
Yes, it is, especially the first few times you do it. The way I think about death has changed. I never thought about dying every day, but now I do. The number of cremations is astounding. 8 a day. That really seems a lot.
What will you choose when you die?
I'm not keen on ending up here where I work, so I'm thinking of getting buried.
In Switzerland, the number of cremations have tripled in the last 30 years. More than 9 in every 10 deaths are dealt with in this way. But why? Residents at a funeral home in Savièse agreed to explain their funeral preferences.
Je préfère le crématoire.
I'd prefer to be cremated than buried. The grave is deep. They put you in a coffin and cover you with dirt. Makes me think of suffocating. I've always been afraid of this.
C'est dans la tête. J'ai peur d'étouffer.
I would like to be cremated. I'm afraid of being buried alive. I'm going to be cremated because there's nobody left, just my daughter, and I don't want her to have to look after the grave.
This death and bereavement expert says the popularity of cremation can be explained by social evolution.
Death gets a really bad press. People don't really go in for traditional rituals anymore. Above all, people are afraid of the idea of the body disappearing and becoming a corpse. So they don't want to see the body or know how it disappeared. Cremation is efficient, and the body doesn't have time to decay. The fire destroys it. It's actually quite a violent part of our culture.
Assez violent pour notre culture à nous.
Here in Loesch, you can see how people dealt with the dead in the 16th century. They put them on show. But tastes change. These days, people don't want to be confronted with death at all, which can be problematic in terms of mourning.
After cremation, more and more people scatter the ashes outside the cemetery, thus wiping out any trace of that person. It's practical to be able to enter a cemetery, open the door, go to the grave of the person who's died, and then close the door and leave again. The dead then have a place in our culture.
This company in Boule has been making marble decorations for graves since the 1940s, but business has declined over the past 30 years. The company now makes more kitchens and bathrooms than tombstones.
I can't say that there's no money in this niche market, but it's a bit of a struggle. It makes up 15% of our sales revenue. It used to account for 98% of our business.
And at this cemetery in Boule, you can see how times are changing.
As there are no more burials, there's too much room in the cemeteries. Families are asking for these tombstones to be removed. There used to be tombstones on both sides, but now they've created a green space here in the middle of the cemetery.
Where there used to be graves, people's ashes are now buried in urns. It's a way of bringing cremation closer to traditional burials and ensuring the survival of cemeteries.